Yeah, indeed.
That's good, man. It's
Yeah.
just took two.
It is what it is.
Just took two. Doing your homework paid off. See that? Diligence is a rewarding thing.
Indeed. Dennis, my friend, it's yet another hour of happy.
Happy. And the only one that'll be happening in the next 3 weeks, I'm afraid.
Oh, no.
Yes, I'm out March 1st and March 8th.
Okay, well, if
I'll be
you're
in Myrtle Beach, or in Topsail, North Carolina.
okay.
Taking another road trip, and we'll be able to visit the boys for an evening of fun. But no golf for me.
Boy, that's going to have our next episode just laden with content of all your stories and stuff.
Laden with content. That it sounds so
content laden,
sonorous, and not particularly compelling, I'm sure, for our listening audience. What do you call an audience when it's only one person? An audience?
An audience, yes.
An audience.
Yes.
Yeah. Well,
I mean, the audience will be burdened with your content. Yes.
Well, and if our audience weren't related to you, we wouldn't have anybody.
True.
Who cares? We're here for each other. It's about two guys talking.
I'm recording this for the future, man.
Well, that's not a bad way to do it.
Like, at some point in the future, we're not going to be here. And
that's right.
This audio content may or may not have survived. And the future AI bots will reconstruct us and make us talk drivel about whatever the modern socio-communist regime is.
Hey, let's do this. Let's plan on recording when the end of the world or the big climatic something happens, not the end of the world.
Climactic.
But yeah. When that happens, and we'll call it the last podcast because we'll be the last ones on.
Yeah. So, I actually regularly listen to a podcast where their whole gimmick is we're going to talk about stuff that no one else is talking about, so that it's in the record, so that in the future, when the apocalypse happens, the future, squid people can decrypt this recording and listen to our ramblings about the important things that happened in the 70s and 80s or whatever.
I thought it was us.
I mean, we're sort of in that vein, yes.
Or maybe we're actually just doing this for our funerals, so that there's, oh, Erik, too soon, gone too soon.
Indeed.
Thank God we have 285 hours of content. Let me show you just a few. Let's listen to just a few clips.
No. I am. What would you give to have 100 hours of audio from your father?
Oh my God.
To listen to.
Oh my God.
Right. Yeah. So or your grandfather or your great grandfather.
Right.
This is
what that's about. God,
I think so.
Much better about things.
We're talking about what happened on the latest episode of blah 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 TV show, but in doing so, we are exposing our personalities and preferences and
providing some information about the culture and environment with which we live in this year of our Lord, 2023.
We're exposing our souls.
It'll feel a whole lot different in 2046. And people laugh and say, "Oh, can you believe they were watching television instead of just taking that pill?"
Right, exactly.
My God, what kind of IT do we have here? You're frozen, completely frozen.
Well, I'm here, man.
Give it a minute, and then we'll have to reboot it.
Yeah, it's like we're recording in the same way that I have 40 photos of when I was a kid, and you have 2, or around, or at that level of like magnitude.
Yeah, well, actually, it's more like 5, but point well taken.
And whereas my kids have
history,
and my grandkids will have like fucking 4K video of their first moments in the world and their first walking and all that stuff.
Maybe 2050, everyone will be like Truman. 100% recorded.
No, but okay. But everyone can't be like Truman, because Truman was a single individual that everyone was watching. But
everybody has the option for anybody to watch their life, just like Truman.
I guess it depends on how we go with the privacy thing with the streaming.
It's gone.
I had my realization today, which I tweeted. Sometimes I tweet things as prognostications for the future, that then I can, like, 5 years from now, I can say, like, I told you I was tweeting that.
Look at this tweet.
And
Trump would be president again, and nobody believed me.
Well, there's that. No, but today the thought that came to me was when we refer to streaming content, we refer to stuff that we are downloading it as we are watching it. And my idea is that in the future, streaming will only refer to content that is being generated in real time by some AI as we are viewing it. Like, pre-recorded stuff is not going to be called streaming, because that's pre-recorded.
Right.
But in the future, we're going to be able to, tell your screen, hey, show me a cop drama set in the 2030s with Audrey Hepburn and Vincent D'Onofrio, and it's gonna be able to just build that for you,
generate it.
Yeah, and then you're going to be able to tell the TV, this is not violent enough, or too violent, or can we get less swearing, or
can we see Audrey Hepburn's? Never mind.
No. Generated naked celebrities is going to be super easy. Don't you worry about that.
Well, and here I was going to lose sleep over it because I'm pining for a picture of Bruce Willis.
Well, Bruce, yeah. So anyway, that was one of my thoughts from today.
Well, that's a thought worth having.
Yeah.
Were you just sitting around gazing out the window, or eating some cornflakes and it just came to you and you jotted it, sent out a Twitter?
I don't know. I might have been on the toilet. I don't know.
Well, that's nice. Don't let that out. Don't let people know that.
Yeah, well.
It takes away from the message. Don't you think?
I produce my best material.
So to speak. No pun intended.
Yeah, so What have you done this past week, my friend?
Well, on these lines, I read my granddaughter a storybook that's called Where's the Poop? And it shows a bunch of different animals and humans post defecation, talking about it. And then the trick is to lift the flap on the book and find the poop. They didn't have that when I was a child, much to your point.
Yes.
Otherwise,
we for sure. I don't recall what the Spanish title of that is, but there was like a mole involved.
Oh.
Anyway, yeah.
Shit in the hole, land on the mole.
Yeah. It's like, where's the shit?
Yeah, I gotta tell you an irritating thing that's just on my mind because it just
tell me
was told to me. So Benoit, the unbelievable Louisiana guitar player aficionado and his band are coming to the State Theater tomorrow night. Today is the birthday of my significant other, and we're joyous. And she and her sister and I are going to see Tab.
Happy birthday to her.
For everyone. Yes, I will pass that on. And historically...
I think 2 years ago, she walked into our call, and I said something like, happy birthday.
Yes, that would have been an appropriate thing to say.
Yeah. Anyway, continue.
Anyway, so in prior years, Tab usually play on the weekend, but this time he's playing on a Thursday, which doesn't mean he's not sold out. He is. It's a big theater. But the after party, where after he's packed up his stuff, he closes his show at about 11, and he can be at a nearby bar by 11:30, 20 to 12. And because the band that would hold the place that would be playing that night at the bar and holding a place for him when he showed up, because they could not find a venue that would stay open past midnight, they had to cancel it. Benoit showing up for nothing. $15,000 a night performer.
Sure.
Showing up for nothing, and nobody could see fit to say...
Whoa, 15,000?
Yes. That's what he gets a gig. That's what national artists get.
That's
Kenny Neal.
Let's... Patreon.com/happy hour. We need to bump the shit up.
Robert Cray. Well, start playing that guitar till you get better. Yeah, White Boy Slim. But imagine, cancel because there's no venue. And here in this town, there's something called the Kalamazoo Valley Blues Association, which if it were worth a shit, this would have been an issue where Tony...
KVBA.
Tony or Tab, for that matter, could call up a week in advance and say, hey, plug me into one of your venues and I'll play for nothing. And we get all our members together and show up. None of it's going to happen.
What a crock of shite.
Well, and because there's no confidence of KVBA and certainly no awareness of what its possibilities are, because if someone called anyone now, the response would be, well, there's nothing I can do about it, and they're missing the point. I mean, my point, I'm on the board now, and my point to them is that every venue in town that plays the blues should have a special place in this organization. I haven't said this yet, but we need to have a blues venue advisory committee.
Venue Advisory Committee, yes. That
can talk about their needs and for 1 year, 2 years, 3 years out.
A BVAC.
And when we have an event, they get free tickets, and we give them some beer tickets. Every venue owner, every manager, and every band member of any band that plays the blues. Not just the blues. Hardly anybody just plays the blues. So-called blues bands are... Certainly there are some, but around here, the blues bands are playing a whole lot more than blues, and it's a whole lot of fun. Right. It's rhythm and blues. It's some rock and roll. It's some old-time stuff.
Some reds, some greens.
But when they launch into a blues tune, they get a particular big hurrah after playing, maybe a couple of other up-tempo kind of tunes, and then they go back to, traditional blues, right. And it gets a big hoot and holler. We should be in the business of creating traditional blues bands, working with high school and college students who are already way on the path of musical talent, guitars, bass, drums, piano, whatever, and particularly African American. We show up at a blues event here. We had standing room only. There was an all-white band that had 6 members. There were about 140 people there, and every single one of them was white except one guy who left early. And it's so odd because it is an African American cultural right. tradition.
Yes.
Which, like Elvis, brought, blues to the white world. I don't know that he meant to leave everybody who's black behind, but it's not up to us that they come to an event, but it's up to us to try to figure out what's missing. One of the things that's missing is that, there's no black musicians.
Ouch. Yeah.
And it's not our fault there are any black musicians. I know a few, but they're not in bands. Well, we should put them together and say, if you guys put together an all-black band, we'll give you venues. We right. need to celebrate the blackness of the blues. Whoa.
Yes.
Whoa.
Whoa, man.
Whoa, man.
Blue, black. Yes. What was I thinking while you were talking about that?
So, speaking of the last podcast.
Yes.
What about the last episode of The Last of Us?
Okay, so since we have been talking about The Last of Us, I have discovered, and I should have known this was a thing because there was one for Chernobyl, but there is, and also Westworld, and also the damn it, the comic book protector blue guy, Dr. Manhattan.
Uh-huh.
That one. Yeah. There is an official HBO podcast.
Yes, of course.
That is like interviewing the showrunners of the show.
Yes.
And the main interviewer is the guy that voiced Joel in the video game.
Oh, no shit.
And so, like, so much of who the character of Joel is, came from him, just voiced as the voice. And I think they said that he was also the guy that voiced Joel. Was also the head hitman for the woman that was in charge in Kathleen. Kansas City. The guy that was like,
yes, the guy with the big long black beard.
Yeah, he was a little bit more human, than she was. Anyway,
that's a pretty low bar.
It's a low bar, yeah. So anyway, I've been listening to. I went back and I listened to the podcast for each of the episodes.
Oh, did you? On top of the episodes, you're a busy boy.
And
He's a good boy.
Including. So you remember how I tried to show episode 1 to my family, and we got to the point where the
forget it.
Where they were like, nope. And it was interesting to hear how like they made that choice of making the first zombie you see the incapacitated old woman that could not even walk or talk or do anything, and the fact that the fungus like cured that part of her in order to make her mobile and stuff. But so remember how I mentioned that, and then episode 3 was more or less zombie-less. That was the
a few killed, but yes, right.
Episode 3 was the Nick Offerman romance episode, which, so when I went, I thought, oh, I can show this to my 13-year-old daughter, and I was surprised. In my memory, like thinking back, it was all about that story of those two men, but there was quite a bit on the like before that and after that. But it was, so anyway, I watched this with my daughter, the third one, and she very much appreciated and immediately intuited at the end. She was like, Tess is dead, isn't she?
Because she didn't have the benefit of the first two.
Well, like, yeah, she had never met Tess, but she saw in that letter at the end of episode 3 that, right, like, give my best to Tess, and Joel was like, don't ever talk to me about her, and my daughter was like, she's dead. I was like, damn, okay.
Well, this
so anyway,
episode was fabulous.
Yeah, I watched the first half yesterday and the second half today, and yeah, it's a departure. And then I've also heard the podcast where they talked about it. They talked in the podcast about how unlike when you're making a video game, this is very interesting to me. Unlike when you're making a video game, in the video game you can just keep playing, but with the TV show there are clear stops and starts, and so they left episode 5, I guess, in a very emotional, like, shock moment, like,
yes,
holy shit. And so they were very intentional about saying, okay, 3 months have passed. Our characters have more or less digested that shit that went down. And now we're in a different place.
For number 6?
For number 6, yeah. The latest.
Do you think Joel's dead?
No, he's not.
Oh, I didn't think so either.
I mean, he can't be, because...
Well, neither could Ned Stark be dead in the Game of Thrones, and that was a bit of a freaking shock to the world, since he was the premier star actor of the series. They killed him off quickly. But
yeah, but
I've because you know the game.
I've already heard discussions about how the video game ends.
Yeah, right.
Which imply, I haven't played it, but it implies how constrained they are on how this one ends, and also they are booked for a second season, so we
can't die yet.
Yeah, I won't tell you or our listener about how the video game ends and how.
I already know. It's everywhere. Everyone knows. Anyone who knows about the video game knows the end.
Okay, so
it's not even a secret. It's like knowledge.
So what do you think you know about the ending?
He dies at the end.
Who?
Joel.
Okay. Given
So
what
he
you've
can't die
heard.
now because it's not the end.
Okay. Interesting. We'll see.
Well, you don't. You're acting like I'm making it up or I'm wrong. I mean, it's not. It could be that who
That
wrote
does
this
not
analysis that I
coincide with
read.
my
It
intel.
doesn't. Huh.
My intel is different.
Oh, really? Oh, interesting. Different, not different about this topic, or different in a completely different way.
Different about this topic.
Oh, really? Huh.
Because they've already made the second season of the video game.
Oh, I didn't realize that.
So they're sort of like skipping steps towards where they know they want these characters to be on the second video game. And it's my understanding that Joel is present.
Yes, my understanding is he's present too for a while, but then at the end of the story, whenever that may be, he dies.
I mean, that's true of all of us, right?
Well, no, not in terms of our story. If our story is about you going to the supermarket, it doesn't end in your death.
I mean, it could, but
I suppose you could die at the supermarket, and then, of course, it'd be more compelling story than if you didn't. So there's that.
Right.
I don't want to encourage you to, I'm going to keep going to the grocery store till it happens. No, don't do that.
Well, I mean, I will until it happens, but yes.
Well, because after it happens,
because I need groceries.
Yeah, right. Well, this is fascinating. Kind of a transcendental conversation.
No, but what about this this cool little colony that they have?
Oh yeah.
Well,
I like the white lights everywhere, and the fact it's inexplicable how they're generating all this power.
They claim it's from the local dam.
That's right.
And
which is in their domain.
And apparently, most of this content in the video game takes place inside the dam. Like they go and explore the dam, and all of these conversations and shit happen inside there,
as opposed to a beautiful community with great houses,
right,
beautiful, a great bar, the bar where they were hanging out, way cool. Way cool. The street lights.
But they claim that it was for expense reasons. Like they couldn't recreate the inside of the dam as cheaply as they could this village. But the village looked pretty.
The scene between Joel and his brother was quite gripping. I went back and watched it again in the scene in the bar. Actually, it was in Joel's home when Joel admitted to his fears and was crying and emotional. And apparently, one of the things I read today from the director of what a wonderful giving actor he was, because they had to shoot scene after scene after scene from different angles, and every time they had to repeat it, he was just equally as emotional.
Right.
And didn't matter whether the particular scene they were filming from the angle they were even had him in it. He just every time. And it sounded to me like it was
how exhausting that must be.
Yeah, I would imagine.
Just to spend your day.
I'm so tired. Just had a good cry.
Doing like 20 or 50, I don't know. Like summoning
probably less than a dozen for this scene.
summoning your deepest emotions
right
a dozen times,
whatever it is that you got to do
for camera, and just like pulling from that, and then they say cut, and you're just like, okay, let's see, let's pull back from that deep place, and then get ready to go there again. Wow. Yeah. It
great ending to the episode, and just makes you not be able to wait for the next one. I mean, can't wait.
That's what they're paid for. Yeah,
of course. And the actress, who I think her name is Rebecca. Is it Rebecca Silver? Probably not. She plays what's her name in the show? Jessie? No, Ellie. The actress who plays Ellie.
Yes.
I wonder how old she is in real life. She's like 14, right? In the show. I bet you she's in her 20s.
Bella Ramsey. And she is 19. She will turn 20 in September.
God, she's good.
She really, really, really is. Like, if I could buy stock in actors, it's just like, damn.
Well, and Pedro Pascal, as you know, you and I talked about, I think we talked our last episode about the footage of him describing his most iconic roles, and I hadn't seen but two of them. So this is really an introduction to him for me.
Right.
And I am very impressed with him. I mean, actually, the writing, the acting, all of it, the drama of it, the scenery, the beautiful, beautiful scenes in Wyoming, for example, are just stunning. Having been to that part of the world, but never in the winter, I'm kind of mesmerized by all that. I hope to get back there. I fished in Wyoming, and it was so strange because the river, maybe the rivers, but the one river I fished is so different from any other river I've been in, where it was real wide and it wasn't very deep, and it was all these big rocks on the bottom, and it was very different kind of fishing because the rivers I fish in meander and turn, and there's deep parts that you call holes, and
just straight,
just seemed
downhill.
It was meandering a bit, but it was all like 2.5 feet deep, pretty rapid current, and there didn't seem to be any holes. And so strange. I mean, the way I fish now, I go to a deep spot, a dark spot, and I fish it because the fish don't want to, if you can't see them, they can't see you. So it's kind of like, well, that's probably where they're hiding, where they can't be seen. And you'll see them flit in and out of that hole in more shallow water where you can see. But in this river, nothing like that. And so as I was packing up my stuff and called it a day on a beautiful, warm afternoon, it was just so gorgeous. And I popped a beer and was drinking a beer in the parking lot, changing my clothes. I saw this fisherman, obviously local, knew what he was doing, walking up the middle of the river, throwing a streamer, which is a heavy fly that is fished by dragging it in because you're replicating the movement of a fish that's swimming towards you, bait swimming towards you. And he was throwing this line to either edge of the river, either bank, in the water near the bank, and ripping it in, getting it in, and then doing it again, walking up the middle of the river. I'd never seen anything like it before in my life. He was just fishing all this open water.
With success? That was the fish.
Oh, I'm sorry, my printer is generating something. What the hell? Somebody in this house is printing while I'm podcasting?
What the?
What the deuce? Well, I don't want to turn my phone in to complain about it.
So
but I bet you it's a recipe.
well, they better damn well cook it. So fishing the sides of the river was new to you.
No, it's not what they were doing. They threw the streamer too near the bank and then fished the space between that bank and them by pulling the streamer with the line gathering at your knees in the water, pulling. It's called stripping, and in the water that looks like a fish swimming upstream or sideways in
and
the
were
stream.
they catching?
He I didn't see him catch any, but I'll guarantee you that he would. Because he wouldn't be doing it if it wasn't productive. It looked like a lot of work.
Well,
anyway. Well,
so does this, but like.
I found a place. This is interesting. It kept me going. I found a place on the bank where a raccoon had caught a brook trout and had eaten it and left some of the skin and some of the bones there, which was just great evidence that there were brook trout in the river, and they were right there because a raccoon doesn't jump in the river and swim around and dive around like some kind of a fucking goose. They got it.
That's what I always say. Coons ain't no goose.
Yeah, coon ain't going up past his knees, as far as I know, waiting for him to come up near the bank. For all I know, that raccoon's throwing a little piece of something in the river to bring the fish toward the bank. They're pretty smart critters.
Who knew? Who knew? So this past weekend, I went for a walk. You remember in September when I got up early and I went on this pilgrimage walk up to see some church?
Yeah.
And then I walked back down. Coworker friend of my wife's wanted to do that thing, and so this weekend we decided, hey, let's do that. And it's only an hour's walk up and an hour's walk down, so it's not so much walking, but we did that, and then we went out to a lovely meal, and then we did another walk from where I live to visit our local famous tree. Have I mentioned our famous tree?
The biggest tree in the area.
We have this tree that is 400 years old.
Wow.
That has been voted the coolest tree in all of Spain.
All of Spain?
All of Spain.
In your town?
In my little town where
Isn't
I can walk
something?
to. And it is a pretty cool tree. It's on this path where lots of people used to walk, hundreds of years ago. But at some point, someone built a little shrine near the tree. So like everyone would come, and on their path, walking by the tree, they would stop and pray at the shrine. And because of that, the Catholic God, I suppose.
Not Virgin Mary or...
Virgin Mary, I mean, Catholic God. Virgin
many
Mary.
religions frown on anyone praying to the Virgin Mother. She's not a God. You don't pray to her. That was one of the differences between... is that the difference between the Muslims...
No,
I don't know. There's just some difference there where some hold.
I have notes about this exact topic for later in the show. But
back to your walk. I'm sorry. I'm sorry I brought it up.
They built this little shrine there, and so when they were like harvesting the entire forest to build boats, they spared this one tree because it was next to the shrine that
It's the only one
everyone was
left.
fond of. And so it's the only one left of this forest that was there 400 years ago.
Oh no, that's sad.
And
Well,
so, but we the people of my town have enlisted the children to go and replant a whole bunch more trees. So like 50 years from now, there's going to be more trees there. But
and 50 years from now, they say, "Oh, we only have to wait another 350 years for this to be a cool tree."
Yeah. But what's weird about this is that, like, it's much like the Miss America sort of thing, where like you win Miss Michigan or whatever, and then you go into the next level. So our tree is up for voting for the best tree of all of Europe.
Oh my God.
Now, and we're competing with these trees in Poland
so I wonder about this. How long of a walk is it for you?
I could get there in 20 minutes walking.
And so aren't you at all, I mean, I would want to be at this tree frequently.
Yes.
I would think.
It's an okay tree. Like, I've been there since I've been living in this town. I've been there 50 times probably.
By yourself though, or with guests?
Both. But like it wasn't like, oh my God, this is an amazing tree. I mean, it is an amazing tree, and it is one of my favorite trees. But it wasn't like, holy crap, this is the best tree in Spain.
But it's not, and it's also not one of your favorite spots. Obviously, I mean, I can't.
It's further away than my favorite spots would be. But this is one of the locations where when my daughter had her first communion, we went with her in her communion dress to this tree to like take photos.
Get the blessing of the spirit of the tree.
It wasn't so much about that, but it's just a cool looking place.
Oh, so I see. Right.
And I don't know. So anyway, my weekend involved visiting this local sacred place that is this super old tree, and like there's evidence that like kings and queens and shit like walk by this tree.
Oh yeah, right.
300 years ago or whatever.
Slice of history.
Yeah. So,
is it real big?
I will send you photos. It's not that enormous. Like I can't reach my arms around it, but it's a decent looking tree.
Well, we had in our old property, which we sold up on Stewart Avenue, we had one of the city's largest and oldest trees. And because of the type of tree it was, which was a sycamore, it was enormous girth, enormous, with branches that just extended over probably 2 or 3 properties, and when it turned colors from the house we lived in, which you could see this tree from every window, amazing, bright yellow leaves, just and an odd thing, the leaves were the last to fall. So it would be snowing out before the leaves fell, which meant that you could never really have a fall cleanup that lasted. You knew that spring there would be another cleanup because the damn tree didn't shed its leaves until the snow, and there was no getting the leaves up in the snow. Today we have an ice storm, by the way, which is fascinating. My truck is encased in ice, completely encased, as are all the trees and all the wires and the steps.
Cool.
Well, dangerous. Pretty. My truck looks great, encased in ice. And
send
not all
photos.
that hard to just heat it up a little bit and it breaks off. But I did.
Did you? Speaking of leaves, did you notice when Joel and
Ellie
were approaching this university? The ground was covered with leaves, like I said last time.
Yes.
That like, if civilization is not around, there's no raking.
No raking.
No raking. That's what I say.
The end of civilization as we know it.
Civilization is raking.
Will be evidenced by a lack of raking.
That's what I say.
How about a dissertation? The role of raking in cultural proximity to
how the apocalypse will affect raking.
The apocalypse the apocalypse and raking, an examination of the quixotic relationship between leaves and the human race.
Quixotic? Do you mean Quixotic?
No, I mean quixotic, as in Don Quixote.
Jesus. Okay.
If I mispronounce it all consistently, maybe it'll work.
So, can we head to New Orleans?
Can we head where?
To New Orleans? Are you up to date?
Well, of course I'm up to date, and I got to tell you this. I told you this before in a prior episode that the bar where Big Mo has her little her office, her space in the back, Buffa's, is a place I frequented, and it's about amazing. 2 blocks from the bar where I played, and every time I see it, I just laugh out loud.
That's amazing.
And the store where his wife is murdered is in the 9th Ward, and I've actually been in that store. And so many of the scenes, like his mother-in-law's house. Right. I don't know the house specifically, but I know the neighborhood, and it was one of the neighborhoods in the garden center where we used to walk and just marvel at the homes. She's got a particularly marvelous home with a big glass iron door that opens up into an outside garden.
So remember when I sent you this week that I looked up the address of what he had put on, because they showed that for 3 or 4 frames. Like, it was super quick. I had to go back. It took me several times to pause on that frame. But such is the nature of modern high-res television, is if you're going to put text on the screen, it's not like, and I admit to doing this, on the movie Airplane, where they do a bunch of like the whole newspaper cover swirls, that sort of transition on the screen.
Yeah.
If you pause that and you look at it, it's just nonsense text.
Right.
But nowadays you have to actually, if you're going to put anything remotely with text on the screen, and like I've heard people that make these shows talk about how they actually have to go and research this stuff and like make it seem possible.
Yeah.
So anyway, the fact that the address that was on there, that was as his home address, was this like barbecue place, I found amusing.
And from downtown New Orleans, and you know that it's nothing more complicated than that, like you suggested, that's where some of the crew love to go eat.
Right. You know? And so when I searched for this place, and I put Your Honor in the search, I found this place, but not only this place, but other places where the like Yelp reviews were like, this place was amazing, and I happened to be there when they were filming the 2nd season of Your Honor.
Wow.
And it was just like, okay, wow. However, I've like seen the inside details of this place, and I have not seen that place on the show yet, but we'll see.
Well, and it's one of the reasons I continue to watch the show. But I will say again that the script is improving, and the introduction of Morticia's father,
Yes.
Carlos Gantini or whatever his name is fascinating. And I love in the last episode when his father-in-law is berating him, his wife is berating him, and he absolutely cowers. He's so afraid of them, and he takes it out on his bodyguard.
Yeah.
Irish bodyguard who he about beats to death with a fucking bedpan.
It's like
and you realize it's such good writing because you realize what a nutcase Jimmy Baxter is and why. He is a denutted basket case.
And I always kind of hate the shows where the turns out is, oh, you caught me, but I'm actually working for this other higher up person. Those shows get exhausting really fast. But I kind of like that that there's a dirty cop.
And what an introduction, too, but apparently he didn't kill him. Not much of a shot. He just
didn't
put
kill
him in
who?
the hospital. He didn't kill Little Man.
See, you know that because you've seen the Next Time On, but I don't.
I thought you were up to date, you said.
Yeah, but the last they shut down the last scene with him being shot.
Oh! And because
but
I saw
you've seen the Next
previews?
Time On previews that I haven't.
But at the end of your show in Spain, they don't send you previews of what's coming?
My show in Spain, I don't have actual showtime. I'm
right. Because what you're
finding
doing
these off the back of the truck where they fall off, where the showtime van goes by.
You always wanted to be a gangster ever since you can remember.
Sure. And so...
Is that true? That's what your father told me.
I mean...
Your mother, poor dear.
Could be gangsta. We say gangsta, not gangster.
Gangsta.
Yeah.
Gangsta. So what did you think? I thought this episode was, and I'm kind of the mind that Bryan Cranston is not showing much of a range here. His range is mild surprise to mild anger to mild disregard. I mean, it's the woman who plays his mother-in-law, who's been around a long time. She's a great character actor. She was a principal in what was the movie about everybody dying and going to disappearing off the earth? So many people disappearing off the earth.
Yes.
Shit.
HBO also. God damn it!
How come we don't know this? She was a principal in that, and very, very good. She's a very good actress. She showed a full range of emotions that were credible.
The Leftovers.
The Leftovers. But I thought, frankly, that her screen emotion was minimized as a response to Cranston, who was just mild. And I think that this is his impression of how depressed people, suicidal depressed people are. And frankly, he may be right about that, but I don't find it very compelling.
Yeah. So first of all, I looked up, she is 5 years older than him. So to be a mother-in-law, I guess that's...
He married young.
Possible.
He married a young woman.
Yeah.
That's why she left him. Or she didn't leave him, actually.
Well, she sort of kind of did, but yeah. She
left him emotionally.
Indeed. And then later spiritually and physically. Where are you going? I liked her in this episode, and maybe the one before, where she played the mother card several times.
Yeah. She sure played the hell out of it this last episode, but it makes good sense. And the other acting that I thought was not great was when they finally met up with KJ, who knows the backstory of all this. And I always kind of just rag on an actor who obviously doesn't smoke cigarettes, who is smoking cigarettes in a scene in a way that's unrealistic. And that's what KJ does in his big scene. And it's like, what director would let you get away with that? It's average. It's a mediocre thing. Better this year than last, but it was a low bar. So I'll watch it. I'll keep watching it.
How do you feel about Carlo and the car crash? The worst? Well, hold on. What's the worst car crash you've been in?
I've totaled a car. I've been a witness of cars that cause death. I've been the first responder at cars where people died. So pretty bad.
Shit. So can we go through those, or do you want to save that for another time?
No, not at 2 minutes and pending for the end of the show. You want to dedicate a show to mayhem and death that I've seen. I'll steal myself, but I'm leaving here for a dinner party.
This car crash scene. Let's put all that back in the basket. Why did little guy not pull the trigger?
He's a good man, and he's not about to kill somebody,
right?
No matter what. But here's.
However, he did pull the trigger.
Yes.
Before
trying to kill Carlo, and missed.
Trying to kill Carlo before,
and missed.
So now he has him in his sights, and he chooses not to.
He's mature.
So
he's mature. But here's a more fundamental question to the scene. Why the fuck did they crash into this car?
No, don't ask that. That's.
I mean, what?
Someone is following you, and then they crash into you from the side.
Right?
Come on.
What?
No, don't think too hard about that.
Oh yeah, well, you're an apologist for this fucking series.
Yeah, that's so much bullshit. That is you're such a big dumb.
Bryan Cranston fan. I know. I see your hackles go up when I talk about your man Brian. But listen, it continues to have weaknesses in the script that for a fucking zombie-like movie, like All of Us, we're not talking about holes in that script.
No.
We're not talking about, even though the stuff is completely impossible, we're not talking about it being implausible within the context of the reality they've created in the show.
True.
We're not saying that doesn't make any sense. When the guy kills his brother in a shocking closure, we don't say, wow, that doesn't make any sense.
It makes total sense, yeah.
Amazing, brilliant writing, actually. Just holy shit, hit you right in the gut.
Speaking of shitting on Brian, did you see his Super Bowl ad?
Which one was it? I think I did, but I can't recall.
The Papa Rose Cheetos thing. It's you would have recognized the fact that it's a Breaking Bad reference. if you had seen Breaking Bad, but since you haven't.
And what was it a commercial for? Cheetos?
Some sort of snack bullshit.
No, I didn't see it.
Well,
I didn't see
anyway.
it. What'd you think of the halftime show?
Didn't see it.
Oh.
So here we are together.
Rowana grabbing her crotch.
She's pregnant?
It's like, yeah. Rahana. Sorry.
Rihanna.
I don't get these names right. Well, listen, man, I got a party of people waiting for me downstairs. Chicken's cooked, ready to serve. Gotta go.
Yeah.
I won't see you for a couple of weeks, brother.
I also will pretend that I have a party of people. A people of party waiting for me.
Okay, we can pretend it. Okay, go have fun, man.
To my party people.
I'm only going to leave this on until I come back up. I've had a problem with my battery draining. Very weird.
Look, we will see you in 3 weeks.
3 weeks. March. The Ides of March.
Indeed.
The Ides of March. We'll have to look up that reference.
I know what that reference is. Julius fucking Caesar. Okay, that's it for episode number 177. There are not many show notes, but they can be found at happyhour.fm/177. The show art for this episode is the old tree that I went to go see. And you can support the show at patreon.com/happyhour. We would love your money. See you in 3 weeks.